sunk an enemy destroyer. Action stations.
Hey team, it's Ripper here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Tier 9 cruiser review. Michelangelo finally got it from the Dockyard event. But before we begin, if you guys see value in the videos that we're doing here, like, subscribe, bell button below. Appreciate all the support and the comments below. Let us know how we're doing, what we can do to get better. And at 2,000 subs, with the help of you guys, we're going to give away a free premium DD giveaway. So let's get right to it. The Michelangelo Tier 9 Dockyard finally got it. Let's take a look at the video. You guys watch the gameplay. You make your own decision as to how or if it's worth it to grind for. It's currently in the Dockyard for about 5 more days, I believe, as a recording of this video. And you got to complete about 32 events, combat missions that have been unlocked all the way through now. And pretty much what you do is just grind out. You can play co-op, randoms, ranked on some of them, and really just kind of just achieve those criteria, whether it be citadels, sink ships, whatever, and you unlock the ship. So let's go read a little bit of history before we begin. Now, the Italian Navy, if you want to call it, no offense to them or anything, I don't think that World Warships wanted to build an Italian Navy at first, but in reality, I think there weren't as many ships. When I Google the Michelangelo, it was like a cruiser liner or whatnot, so I don't think this really was an actual ship. But, of course, World Warships, wargaming, they like to build things that were hypothetical, theoretical, and things that were on paper, and they like to build it from the ground up, and this is what you pretty much get. And it's, if I had to sum it up all together right now in a couple words, it would be a cruiser with smoke and Sap Secondaries. It's really focused on the Sap Secondary aspect, and actually does this do better than the Napoli. We'll take a look at it, see some of the stats while the gameplay is in the background. Take a look at it, see if you enjoy it or not. But let's read a little history about this. So the Michelangelo Washington Naval Conference gave Italy the opportunity to build battleships from 1927. Several projects were a displacement of 18,000 to 35,000 tons were under development simultaneously. Some of the projects relied on foreign designs, Hood, Nelson, Dunkirk, but some were unique. The design proposed by Admiral DeFeo featured a ship with 8 320mm guns and quadruple gun turrets placed close to the midship frames, while the secondary battery mounts were moved towards the ship's fore and aft ends. Michelangelo was released on 6 December of 23 as a reward for completing all 32 stages of the Sestri Ponetti Dockyard event. So as you can see right there, just looking at the basic design and the whole development of this cruiser, pretty unique. If you look at the main battery guns, they're in the center of the ship, which I'm not really a fan of, although there are 8 of them, and they fire sap shells. They don't really, they don't have the best angles, and I'll put up a graphic of showing what the angles look like. They are pretty horrendous right now, and right now, currently in the background video here, you can see this is kind of the bread and butter of what the ship's supposed to do. You pop your crawling smoke, which covers your ship while moving. Of course, from radar, it's still revealable, but if you're not within radar and nobody's spotting you and you're not firing your main battery guns, you are pretty much just a Sap Secondary of smoke. I mean, literally a wall of clouds just moving through the ocean like a fog, and these Sap Secondary shells just emitting from it, and you're just seeing the damage output that it's doing. Now, the great, I would say, dispersion, great accuracy right there, kind of comparable to the Napoli. But let's take a look. I'll look at the graphic again, but yes, look at the secondaries. Angles are pretty horrendous for the main battery. I mean, if you want to get the main battery, both guns, you got to give 38 degrees for that angling. Now, if you want to get all the secondaries on board, you're going to have to get about 66 degrees to get those back 2 turrets involved. So pretty horrendous angles, surprisingly. For if this thing was supposed to be Sap Secondary focus, you would think the angles would be a little bit better, but you are exposing a lot of citadel, a lot of exposure, a lot of armor. Armor is not that, I would say, spectacular. I mean, you'll see, again, this thing only works, really, honestly, my personal opinion, at Tier 9 and lower if it was up tier, but if it was in the Tier 10 super ship area, this thing does not survive. And Splash 1, there we go, down goes one ship right there, and we got to do a hard turn. Now, one of the recommendations was for the steering modification to give it better turning ability. You can see right there that it's a little sluggish. It could turn, but again, this thing is not designed to go in and just kind of be like a destroyer. I think this thing is really just a long-range secondary stay away, because the concealment's out. You can get it down if you're not on fire, about down to 11.1-ish. So yeah, is this thing really a brawler like it was intended? Because if it's Sap Secondary focus, you would think that this thing is the brawler kind of type, but it really doesn't feel like one. I feel like I just take too much damage. 66,000 health is not spectacular or anything, but As you can see, this is the best gameplay video I could get with what you're supposed to do with this thing. At the meta of today, everybody's staying in the back. I mean, look what my team is currently doing in this game. All crowded up at Charlie in the back. And I'm pushing forward past the middle line of the map. If I had to divide this game into a half pie, or just split a diagonal line right through from top right to top left, look, I'm literally the only one's far forward here, and I'm doing all the work. So it's very interesting of the meta day. I don't know if Michelangelo is... Now, if it's worth the grind for you guys, you have time to do it. It's free. You could do it. Of course, you may have to spend a couple doubloons at the very beginning, but if you can grind out everything, is it worth it? It is up to you. I mean, it was worth it to me. I mean, you're getting the bonus... I'm sorry, the combat missions done while playing the game. Why not? Is it worth spending all these doubloons for? My personal opinion, no. Honestly, I think it's a kind of FOMO, fear of missing out of the ship. Will it ever come back? So people want to grind it just to get it. It's cool. It's got the gimmick of the secondary. Now watch this. This is pretty cool right here. Just watch the secondaries blazing on both sides of the ship, and just watch what can they do. Does the dispersion work for shooting both? And you can see the CVs are just focusing the crap out of us right now. Even with the smoke and everything, they're getting pretty good shots in there. And honestly, I don't know. The AA is pretty trash. AA is always trash. I don't think the AA is that great on this ship to survive anything. You notice the carrier is just focusing on me the whole time, taking lots and lots of damage. Have to use these smokes a lot, and just look at the Sap Secondaries firing on both sides. I mean, it doesn't feel very tanky, even against an air attack. If I didn't have this smoke, would this thing be singled out and destroyed? Absolutely, like anything else. Of course, I am pushing up. I'm just zooming the minimap down there a little bit. Zoom out to see if we can effectively shoot both ships. There goes one. We're getting some kind of chip damage here and there, but again, once this smoke goes out, can this handle a one-on-one situation against a ruin here? But the Sap Secondary shells now from the main battery guns, look at this shot right here. Now, let's see how much damage it can do. It's down from 13,000. Wow, 11,200. I have to say, these guns do hit pretty hard, even though they have the terrible angles, but man, they do pack a wallop and a punch for Sap Secondary shells. And boom, splash 2. He goes down. We take the second kill with the Sap Secondary. Now the secondaries you can see right there kind of finishing them off, but again, I think for that being the gimmick, and it took that many shells, we fired 171 shells and only did 69,000 damage. So I don't know. I think the Napoli does a better job. I think you would be better just to grind a tech tree line ship for the Napoli. Does a better job, same kind of range. Actually, I think the Napoli gets out a further range. The sad part is the range of the secondaries on this thing only go out to 10.5, which is pretty darn sad. You would think it would do a little bit better, especially the 90 millimeters don't really penetrate a lot of that high armor. Right now, it's saying that here. Look at the penetration for the 90 millimeters up to 26 millimeters. So that's actually a good, decent damage. I know the 90 millimeters on the Christopher Colombo and others don't really pen that much. And then, actually, I'm not really sure. I'll have to take a look at it. But the 26 millimeter threshold for the 90 millimeter guns are good. The bigger guns are the ones in the front and the back. The 152s, they pen 42 millimeters. So not bad. They're okay. Again, I don't know if the accuracy is good enough to actually warrant this thing to go in and push and try to brawl with something. As you can see, we're going to push into the Baltimore and see if we can handle and take care of business. But if they're angled at any kind of point here, I mean, we only have Sap shells and, of course, the AP shells. AP shells are AP shells. I don't know what else to tell you about them. They're 830 meters per second fast. That's their initial speed. Nothing really cosmic about it. It doesn't do that much damage. Accuracy is decent on the main batteries, but man, the angles you got to give to achieve the 100% use of the guns, 38 degrees, and of course the secondaries you got to give up to 66 degrees to get them all working. I don't know. I mean, this thing is really tough. It's got torpedoes, 2 sets of 3. Reload is pretty long, 2 minutes, and they're only 8 kilometers. So this thing is encouraging you to brawl. Really? I'm not really sure if I want to. It just doesn't seem like it's there. The AA strength is pretty much trash. On the online, it's showing 46 out of 100 there. Really bad there. I don't really enjoy it. Heel's pretty weak. It got hydro for 5 kilometers. Airstrikes for if you need to do the ASW airstrike. It's only 7 kilometers. That's terrible. Like, why do airplanes limit themselves to 7 kilometers? I don't understand Wargaming's logic behind this. Why would you limit airstrikes? If you're going to give me this airstrikes, why would you limit the airstrikes to 7 kilometers? Don't airplanes have a pretty incredible distance? I get it. Would it be overpowered? I don't know. But man, okay, now looking at my team right here, they're trying to push in, and I have no idea what the Thunder up there is doing or whatever. That's Thunder, that's how you pronounce it. The other ships are kind of clunked in together. They don't spread out. Now here comes Lexington focusing me out for some reason. Not sure why, but I'm in the middle of nowhere, and he's pretty much just going after me. And look at the A right there. Only shot down one plane. And ouch, we take a fire right there. So not cool, not cool. So let's see if the secondaries are going to take on the Baltimore. Let's take a look at how the secondaries go mano a mano versus the Baltimore. I'm sorry, I didn't even shoot yet. They're 10.5 range, so I'm not even there. I shot in the main battery guns. And look at the angles you have to get. Now, if I was nose in this guy, my main batteries are worthless. So one bad aspect of it there, your main battery in the middle, if you want to brawl with this thing to get in secondary range, which is, I think this is kind of luring you into, it doesn't give you that enough the DPM or firepower where you have to expose your ship to these massive angles to get these things firing. And if you get it off one, you're 50% on the main battery. So and like I said, look, right now my angling, I'm 0 right now, 0% effectiveness on the main battery. And now I pop the smoke. Here's the gimmick: you go pop smoke and start firing secondaries. And now look at that, 142. It can't really tank from the bow. It can't tank from the side. This thing is pretty just a gimmick. It's a very, very situational where you need to have everybody shooting at your or everybody shooting at someone else, and you're just kind of sitting in the background firing away, or you're just sitting in the back. I mean, sitting in the back doesn't do this thing any good because your gun angles are terrible, and there are only 8 guns, 8 barrels of sap, and I'm not really sure the dispersion is all that great. And of course, if you want to get close for the secondary guns to be effective, you got to get in real close. And 10.5 is still close, I think, and you got to use the smoke. And once the smoke goes on, you're pretty much a sitting duck. I'm surprised that Baltimore didn't pop radar on me. Must have used it already, and it's on cooldown. But look, here we go. For radar right now, our smoke is worthless, and we're going to just basically push it into our death. There's nothing more we can do. Right there, took it right in the nose. So, do I think this is a good ship? Not honestly, personally, I don't think so. I think it's a gimmick. I think it's a very, very situational, very weak. AA's trash. Guns are kind of terrible angles. Sap Secondary is a gimmick. Napoli does a better job, I think, honestly. So you're better off grinding the Napoli. My personal thing, would I take this into some kind of competitive ring? No, not really. I would not. I would take a Napoli or something else better than this. And yeah, for brawling, I don't think this is a brawling ship by any means. So very, very weak, very terrible. Now, if it's a dockyard event you want to do and fear of missing out, you think you like it, go for it. I mean, it's up to you if you guys like it or not. Was it worth spending money? Personally, no. I would not spend any money on this ship. I think it's more of just a gimmick of wargaming trying to get you involved in it. But again, I thought it would be better. They need to buff something about it. It's just horrific angles, horrific armor, horrific. Even the range of the secondary should be higher than that. I mean, that's ridiculous that you're only limited to 10.5 if you need to build for it, which you're sacrificing a lot of points for it and whatnot. But that's my thought on the Michelangelo. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you see value in the videos, like the subscribe bell button below. Appreciate all the support. And as always, make sure you guys see me out there, say hi and cheers. And hope you guys have a great rest of the week and enjoy your weekend. Until then, we'll see you guys soon. Stay safe. Cheers.